welcome back to another week-long episode of 3D Reviews. I'm your host, the guy with the TV that's louder than it probably should be at the moment because I'm trying to talk over the menu. Today is the next chapter, the Monarch Monsterverse. We're looking at Kong Skull Island, which, by the way, it's been a minute since I watched this in 3D, but it did come highly recommended by a good member in chat. His name is Alexander. Of course, I mean, obviously I watched the 3D Blu-ray before, but we're going to watch it here again today. Last time we watched Godzilla, the 3D was kind of, it was there. They didn't really do anything with it. It was just kind of flat and uninteresting. But we shall see if they stepped up to the plate for Monsterverse Part 2 and see if the 3D's done better. Oh, by the way, I want to mention, I don't know what movie has won the poll for the first week, so I'm not going to be setting. When I see it, I'll put it on the screen right here because I'm going to hold off on finishing the editing until right before Monday. Whatever movie ends up winning, I'm going to be taking that off of the straw poll. Then you guys can go down in the description and vote for the next round of movies for week 2. Although I have a feeling that Texas Chainsaw is probably going to be the first week, but we'll see. Alright, I like here with this opening text, the number 1944 has a tiny bit of negative parallax. And that was a good shot too of this pilot falling through the sky right into your face. Right out of the gate, we have a lot of good layering. We have the plane crash and this man who's sitting in very comfortable negative parallax as we are introduced to what will become one of the main characters of the story. And obviously, this is a good shot too. Look at the way this is being framed here. You have so many different objects in each frame in the layering. It's all working very well. We have some great jungle shots here. There's a lot of good volume and depth to these shots. You can really feel the space and put right there into the scene with it. And another thing that doesn't, oh, look how deep that is. Wow. Another thing that doesn't get utilized too often but is severely underrated is just having subtle bits of negative parallax. Like the shots running through the jungle. Oh, well, you have the sword here, the katana, coming out of the screen at you, obviously to make it more menacing. But you have like little bits of leaves and twigs just subtly hanging out of the screen, and it puts you in there. It's like you have your face pressed up into the jungle. I like how we have bits of dust and debris floating around in the screen and out of the screen as well. When you put objects out of the screen like that, you're really, ooh, wow, the 3D there is really deep, especially this Kong Skull Island logo, which has got negative parallax. But when you bring things out of the screen, you're really inviting the audience there. You're acknowledging that the audience is there and you want them to interact and feel like they're part of that experience. And obviously that goes for the depth behind the screen as well. But actually going out of your way to present an item out towards the audience helps people feel more connected with that story. This is a really nice shot with all the different people and the layering. The 3D just feels generally a little bit more involved in this movie. I like how you can tell that this paper here there's distance between it and the papers under it. You can see a little bit of a depth difference. I think the volume and depth is a little bit about the same as from the Godzilla movie. It's just there seems to be more detail in the 3D that helps it a bit more, if that makes any sense. I freaking love John Goodman, dude. He's so good. So this is another wonderful location. Ooh, look at the speakers coming right out at your head. This is a wonderful location. You have all these different objects, people walking around. Just interesting 3D shots that you could sit down. You could like frame on your wall and give people like anaglyph glasses so that they can see the image in 3D. Honestly, the 3D, the detail's so well done here. I wouldn't be surprised if someone thought this was actually shot in 3D. Rain is really good for 3D. because you have the opportunity to do a lot of negative parallax stuff and make it feel as though the rain is coming out to the audience. I remember watching The Good Dinosaur. The 3D, from what I can remember, was pretty good in there, but there was a moment where there was raining and you could really feel the rain, almost like it was gonna fall into your face, cover your glasses, and you had to wipe them off. Look at this shot. Like, it's an interesting shot in general, but the fact that they would cut away to something specifically like that so they could put the fan right there in the foreground and have them down below. It's just an interesting 3D shot. There's a lot of MCU actors in this movie. You have Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, and now Brie Larson, who, to be fair, I don't think Captain Marvel had come out yet. Maybe it did. I don't know. Time is all screwy. I could just be completely wrong about all these dates and all these times. They really like putting stuff in the foreground, I'm noticing. Like, you have the camera here, it's just sitting like right there. Oh, and then they cut to it. And it's like not sharp negative parallax. It's just there enough for you to notice it. And of course, it's an important... I mean, you can see she's in a dark room doing photographs. To put the camera there and mostly negative, or just a bit of negative right there in the foreground, really brings into view, really gives more focus on her being a photographer. When they're doing these far out shots, they actually have volume to them. It feels like a worthwhile 3D endeavor. Once again, putting objects right there in the foreground. Alright, I like how though when she takes the pictures, it's the pictures are flat and they don't give them like volume or depth. Wow, that was weird. That was a weird... The 3D had a little bit weird in that shot. It's weird though, like even though the pictures are flat, when she's looking through the view lens, it's still in 3D. That doesn't even make sense. That's such a small thing to like nitpick about, but it's an observation. I guess this whole series is like observations about the 3D. And in general, the 3D just feels more detailed in this movie, and it feels like they're giving it a little bit more volume. I'd really like to sit down with the filmmakers and talk to them about, you know, how they went about doing the 3D or what their process was for that. You know, how much of an effect did it have on the movie itself? The shot composition, the storytelling, everything. Alright, so we're seeing an increase of the volume and depth here as things get intense and we are headed into the storm. The 3D is genuinely much better here, and especially when you have flying objects, you really want to make them feel as though they are flying within their own space inside the screen. Like right there, like this shot just feels so open. The 3D just, it really does open up every shot and scene of the movie. Like look at the layering you have here with the 3 helicopters. Look at this, like this is incredible. It really opens up this world. That shot is just so much infinitely more interesting. Oh yeah, look at the clouds. Oh, that's a really nice landscape shot. So definitely when they came to approach this movie's 3D, they really wanted to give it their all and have these landscape shots really be seen in hyper stereo. I mean, you gotta have the top-down shot. It just looks really good. And while items, at least at this point, haven't really come out of the screen like super far, you can tell that they are in some capacity coming out. I mean, look at this and all the birds. There's so much layering going on there. This movie's also just got a really great soundtrack. Oh, see, that shot was really good. That helicopter at the back was really far out of the screen. Like how his 2D camera has 3D capabilities. Look at those early computer graphics. Oh man, I like how they take... I mean, of course they're going to put the seismic charges out in negative parallax to get right up into the audience's face to make it more threatening. It's just like the obvious thing. Like, of course that's what I would do if I did this movie in 3D. Ooh, that was a little bit of a flinch-worthy 3D shot. This movie also lingers on its shots a little bit longer than how you would normally cut things, I suppose. The shot lengths are a little bit longer, which works in the benefit of the 3D because it takes your mind a little bit longer to process a 3D image, but it also just gives you more time to appreciate the 3D in general. Like you have the sparks flashing down in front of your face. You have these guys almost looking out of a window at how large Kong is. It all just works together to make a nice, engaging shot. All the smoke trails and everything have their own, like, it's just all very well detailed. The 3D is very well detailed. Of course, he smacks I almost called it a hurricane. He smacks the helicopter right into the camera. Oh, that shot. That was such a cool 3D shot. I swear that some of these were just, a lot of this movie was like, alright, let's just like do a cool 3D shot here, 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 and here. And that was one of them. I feel like there's quite a bit of traditional movie making, just this like the 2D language of movie making that also works pretty well in 3D. So many of these shots, even though they look really good in 3D and they're nice 3D shots, could just be part of like, hey, stylistically I think this looks really nice, so we're gonna do it, and it also just so happens to work well in 3D. And I think that's the marriage, that's the blend that you want to have when you're doing a 3D picture. This movie stylistically just looks really good. Like the shot compositions are very well done. A lot of these could just be like landscape pictures you put up in your room, like posters. And here you get the nice, deep landscape off in the background as our hero Tom Hiddleston looks around. Also, another binocular shot. Don't really know if that's a 3D accurate binocular shot, but alright, I like that his gun barrel is like right there in your face. Alright, let's see. Top-down shots, like I've said before, always work really well in 3D, but especially when you have the bamboo shoots leading all the way down to the ground, giving yourself a nice perspective and gradient for how the 3D expands or differentiates from the top of, closer to the audience down to the forest floor. Ooh, wow, they got the claws coming out at you in negative space. This movie is very interested in involving the audience with its story. And of course you have the blood splatter on the camera lens. But it's not like at the screen itself, it's out of the screen in your face. And that sort of thing also really works well in 3D because it gives the sense that you've got this stuff on your glasses like right there on your face. Actually, it probably works better for people that wear glasses because then you'll know what it's like to have goop and water and things on your glasses that you gotta wipe off. If you don't wear glasses on the daily, then like you won't even know that's what that looks like. I didn't even take that into account. But yeah, for those of you who don't wear glasses, that's what it feels like. That's what it looks like when you get something on your glasses and you gotta wipe it off. It's all blurry and goopy and stuff, and it feels like it's in your eyeball. I like how the spheres are also in sharp. It's blurry, but you can tell that they're pretty deeply. Would it be deep out of the screen? It's going out of the screen. That's the point I'm trying to make. This is another really well done hyper stereo shot. It also helps the characters feel a lot smaller in this wide world. More foreground stuff, midground, background, basic 3D layering, but it's effective. Look at this. Look at the gradient. The way the water just goes back up into the screen. It looks really good. That was a nice shot. It's a nice shot underneath the water coming out at your face. Should be a 4-dimensional movie. You can get soaking wet. Ooh, the meat chunk flying out at your face. It's very cool to have these painted murals that work when they're lined up. The 3D also, it works well for the 3D because then you have all that layering there. Although, I want to say that as these images line up, they actually dial the 3D back so you can see them better. Yeah, they're definitely dialing it back when you look at the pictures. Damn, all of that debris just flying right out of your face. I like how the mountains just feel so far away. It's interesting that we get to see the 3D version of that shot followed by the 2D version. So you get like a, I don't know, it's like a comparison. You see how much the 3D adds to that. A lot of these shots are just generally pleasing shots to look at, and they really make the most of how far back they can push these mountains to give that sense of just how massive this entire island is. And a lot of the sets and locations are designed in a way to provide a lot of layering and a lot of opportunities for foreground, midground, background objects. Oh, I love how the cigarette pops out of the screen. Ooh, wow. Oh, he just straight up vomited on us, dude. Oh my goodness. The 3D really does give skull crawlers a sense of presence in the scene. Everything just has more of a presence, you know? And I've talked about this in previous videos, and I'm gonna talk about it again and again and again. 3D helps bring out, it helps with compositing. It helps with the sense of realism, I guess, because the extra layer of having these objects, these creatures, these special effects in proper 3D space helps give it more presence in the scene. It makes it feel a little bit more real. And that's a genuine thing that 3D does that movies benefit a lot from. I really like the sickly color that this whole area is color graded as. Like that yellow, now they have the green, that very vomity, gross pus color scene. The smoke also looks really good in 3D. It's like got nice volume and puffiness. If you've seen this, you know what I mean. Oh, that shot. They're really a fan of subtly throwing things out at the audience. Ooh, that was probably the best negative parallax shot in the entire movie. And there's a lot of good ones in here, especially with the debris. They love tossing debris constantly in your face. I meant to say this during the bamboo forest scene, but when you have all these different, the trees, you have all that layering there. Like how they bring the match and the soldier there into sharp, well, not sharp negative space, but a bit of negative space to, you know, heighten the tension. I like all the embers floating around out of the screen. This is another really great 3D shot here. Ooh, nice shot down the barrel. This is an amazing shot. This is one of the best shots in the whole movie. Oh, dude, he got freaking squashed. Damn, that was the biggest heartbreak scene ever, dude. He was gonna sacrifice himself, and the movie was like, nope. I think it is a little bit of a nudge, wink towards sacrificial scenes like that. See, now that shot's really good. There's a lot of volume and depth there. That's hyper stereo. But of course they're gonna want to do that to still maintain some form of volume on the monsters. Holding out the propellers there towards the audience. Ooh, ripped his freaking guts out. This is a generally very good looking 3D presentation throughout. The whole thing is pretty consistent. They do noticeably mess with the volume and the depth during specific scenes, so they definitely did have it in their minds when working on the 3D presentation, and that's how you can actually tell that they really cared, is when you do notice those changes in volume and depth. And it's not about inconsistent 3D. I think a lot of people mistake that. I believe that's what they're referring to. Inconsistent 3D is not necessarily just a lack of understanding on the filmmaker's part, and it's more of a deliberate story decision. I would like to note that this whole ending sequence here, it's in 2 dimensions, because that's what the cameras would have been like. It's things like that you're just like, alright, you clearly had 3D in mind. Like, you actually cared. So, Kong Skull Island. Really, I mean, even though I didn't really say too much, I think the takeaway from this is that this is a better presentation than Godzilla. It has a lot of interesting 3D shots. It just generally looks good. The conversion was much more detailed this time. Of course, this could have been due to better conversion techniques. In the industry, even a year or so is a very long time, and a lot can change in that time, and just more experience. And also comes down to the filmmakers and the directors and how much collaboration there is there. while there were no inherent conversion errors with Godzilla, it just wasn't very interesting. But here, we have a very interesting 3D experience, and I would definitely recommend Kong Skull Island in 3D. It's a nice next step in the MonsterVerse, and I'm looking forward to continuing forward with that. Get your vaccines, it's very important. And I hope you guys continue to enjoy this. Remember, in the description will be a link to the straw poll, which will have whatever movie gets chosen for the first week. That won't be on there, and then it'll just be the rest of them. Alright, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I would recommend picking up Kong Skull Island in 3D. It's just a genuinely good movie, and a good 3D movie at that. You guys have a good day.